I look forward to enthusiastically campaigning for Governor Bush. I endorse 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 Governor Bush.
By the way, I enthusiastically accept.
Okay? And the way we run things is that we usually wait our turn, since you've already had one turn. But I'll give you another turn, don't worry.
Finally, the Mac has come back.
And so I welcome you here. I wish you all the best. I'm proud to be your friend.
Well, I'm very honored and humbled to have the opportunity to receive the endorsement of the President of the United States, a man who I have great admiration, respect, and affection.
I love you, man.
David.
As a history major, C student.
They didn't mention that I stood fifth from the bottom of my class at the Naval Academy. If my old company officer were here today, he would tell you that in America anything is possible.
And I was privileged and proud to have the opportunity to campaign for his election and re-election to the presidency of the United States.
Fool me once. Shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning? And find out that the literacy level of our children are appalling. Why don't you volunteer? Why don't you help mentor a child how to read? And you're working hard to put food on your family. I think we ought to raise the age at which juveniles can have a gun.
I appreciate his endorsement. I appreciate his service to our country.
Poor people aren't necessarily killers. Just because you happen to be not rich doesn't mean you're willing to kill. It's your money. You paid for it. In my State of the Union, or my speech to the nation, whatever you want to call it, I asked Americans to give 4,000 hours over the rest of your life of service to America. That's what I asked.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
Iraq has one of the biggest oil supplies in the world, okay? One of the biggest. I mean, just like this incredible. We don't take the oil. What are we doing? We're spending $900 billion. We can't fix up New Orleans. We can't fix up our own country. We have weak educational system. We're spending $900 million.
Not one doubt in my mind that we will fail. It'll take time to restore chaos.
I'll support you on that. It's the least I can do.
I understand that the unrest in the Middle East creates unrest throughout the region. You see, free nations are peaceful nations. Free nations don't attack each other. Free nations don't develop weapons of mass destruction.
Do you find it more Americans are concerned about your relationship with President Bush?
I voted for Bush in 2000 and 2004. Okay. And not only that, far more important than a vote, I campaigned everywhere in America for him. I enjoyed it. I campaigned with him. I did everything I could to get him elected and re-elected president.
It's about fighting.
President Bush has talked about our staying in Iraq for 50 years.
Well, that's fine with me.
Maybe 100. We've been in South Korea. We've been in Japan for 60 years. We've been in South Korea for 50 years or so. It's fine with me. I hope it'll be fine with you.
His whole career is wrapped up in the military, national security. He's in Putin's face. He's threatening the Iranians. We're going to be in Iraq 100 years. If we're in Iraq 100 years, Joe, we will be fighting 100 years of war, just as the British, if they stayed in our country 100 years, would be fighting the Americans for a century. I'm telling you, what John McCain is telling you is what he's promising you.
Because we're bitter.
John McCain is a bellicose, red-faced, angry guy who constantly explodes.
Can you describe the conversation?
Pardon me?
Can you describe the conversation?
No, of course not. I don't describe private conversations.
Okay, can I ask you...
Why should I? Then there's no such thing as a private conversation, is there? If you have a private conversation with someone and then come and tell you, I don't know that that's a private conversation. Okay. I think that's a public conversation.
Can I ask you about your, why you're so angry?
Pardon me?
Never mind.
Tonight, some of Senator John McCain's critics suggest he might be in need of some anger management. The Republican presidential candidate reportedly let loose on a colleague with some shouting, profanity.
The senator from Texas, who's against the bill, went after McCain, slamming him for missing negotiations while campaigning out on the trail. That's when McCain fired back with an F.U.
What I'm saying is what's less supportive of them. People are being told they're fighting a war.
Settle down for a second. No, you settle down. That they're fighting a war that people don't like angry candidates.
You want to pull out of Iraq? Well, I say no surrender. And that's the bottom line, because John McCain said so.
Senator McCain's credibility now on Iraq, which has been so solid to this point, is now being left out hanging to dry. To suggest that there's any neighborhood in this city where an American can walk freely is beyond ludicrous. I'd love Senator McCain to tell me where that neighborhood is, and he and I can go for a stroll. And to think that General David Petraeus travels this city in an unarmed Humvee. I mean, in the hour since Senator McCain has said this, I've spoken to some military sources, and there was laughter down the line.
The delegation played the role of tourists while surrounded by enormous firepower. The guns, though, couldn't protect McCain from his own words. The week before, trying to build support for the surge, he said this on television.
General Petraeus goes out there almost every day in an unarmed Humvee.
And he said this on the radio.
There are neighborhoods in Baghdad where you and I could walk through those neighborhoods today.
Those words came back to haunt him in a Baghdad news conference, and he made it worse.
Senator McCain, I just read in the internet that you said there are areas in Baghdad that you can walk around freely.
Yeah, I just came from one.
Pardon me?
I just came from one.
But backing up that stroll through the market was 10 armored Humvees, soldiers with rifles, and 2 Apache attack helicopters circling overhead.
Why did you say that?
I'm sure for all the wrong reasons.
And those wrong reasons would be?
For ambition.
For ambition.
Sure.
Let me give you a little straight talk.
What he said is, make no mistake, there are going to be more wars. That is straight talk. To be quite frank, Joe, you get John McCain in the White House, and I do believe we will be at war with Iran.
Old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran, you know, bomb, bomb, bomb.
That would be crazy, crazy exciting.
McCain once again fired back.
Lighten up and get a life. Insensitive to what? The Iranians? My response is lighten up and get a life.
At what point do you stop doing what you think is right and you start doing what the majority of the American people want?
Well, again, I disagree with what the majority of the American people want.
And what you gonna do when John McCain and all his McCainiacs run wild on you? It'll be game over.